We will call the regular ZBA meeting for December 2017 to order, a little bit late at 8 minutes after 7. Roll call, please.
Maurice LaRosa.
Here?
Mary Ann Turner, here. Charlie Masterbird. Andrew Urbanowitz.
Here.
Lynn Skull.
Here.
Rob Koznicki.
Won't be here.
Kathy, I think you're on another page. Kathy Plopper. Here.
Fire evacuation, 2 means of egress, through the door right in front of us, behind you gentlemen. Take a quick left and a quick right through the door out into the parking lot. Go through the door, go take a right down the hall, take the last door on the left, go straight out into the parking lot. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we... Legal notice, please.
The zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing on Monday, December 18, 2017, at 7 p.m. in the Enfield Room, Town Hall, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following. XZBA number 17-16, 90 Parsons Road, requesting a variance to section 4.10 area and bulk requirements to reduce the required rear yard setbacks to 45 feet, where 50 feet is required. Town of Enfield owner applicant, map 011 lot 0020, R33 zoned, DOR 1127-2017 and MOPH 131-2018. Can I read the other?
Yes.
ZBA 2017-08-09, 1654 King Street, automotive location approval for an automotive repair garage. Christie Selby, applicant, JFP Realty, owner, map 013 lot 0009, industrial 1 zone, DOR 12/18/27 and MOPH 221/2017, dated this 6th day of December 2017. Mary Ann Turner, secretary.
Thank you. And we also have on our agenda tonight ZBA 2017-10-06 for Connecticut Ave from last month. Just quickly want to explain how things are going to work. As I call the applicant forward, you'll come forward in front of the board. You'll have an opportunity to share your project with us. At that point, the board may or may not have any questions for you. We'll also, you'll be able to answer those questions. We'll open it up to the audience for anybody who wishes to speak for or against the project. At that point, if anybody speaks for or against the project, the applicant will have the final say to come back to the board and talk again. But with that said, definition of where a variance can be granted. A variance can be granted where such grant will not affect the overall purpose of the zoning ordinance and where the strict interpretation of the ordinance will result in hardship. A hardship exists when the zoning ordinance uniquely affects a parcel of land differently from other properties, and where the use of the property or reasonable use of the land would be impossible without the variance. Self-imposed or financial hardships cannot by law be considered a reason for granting a variance. With that said, we have first on our agenda tonight for Connecticut Ave, ZBA 2017-10-06, Connecticut Ave, which has withdrawn their application, so they will be off our agenda for the evening. Secondly, we have ZBA 2017-08-09, 1654 King Street. I was notified that they have also not prepared to come in front of us, so we will not open the public hearing for them at this time. So we will ask that ZBA 17-16-9, no, sorry, that's wrong. 17-16, I'm missing something there.
Yeah, the town projects are numbered a little differently than the other projects, so it's XZBA.
Gotcha, okay. 90 Parsons Road, if the applicant come forward. And that's you guys.
So I can stay right here?
You can stay right there.
All right.
So state your name and address for the record, and then you can proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. My name is Tom Schwartz. I'm a project manager for Woodard and Curran. We have an office here in Enfield at 1699 King Street. Myself and my project engineer, Shelby Boscheman, who would normally be here, but she's recovering from the flu, have been working for a number of years now with Jonathan Belmez and Kevin Schlatt from this town on planning and designing and now bidding upgrades to the water pollution control facility. So I'd like to give you a brief overview, of what we're doing and put it into context of where where we're looking for the variance, if that's okay. I'm going to skip a slide here on and go to, actually what I'd like you to do is if you could refer to the project timeline that I handed out, that's actually more up to date than this slide here, please. So starting back in 2014, our company engaged and began the process of planning for these upgrades. And also during that, about that time, 2014, the sewer use fee that is in place now was implemented. That's important for funding this project, obviously. In the 2015 to 2016 timeframe, the facilities plan was drafted, which outlined and has now set the stage for the design of the upgrades.
Hold on a moment. Can you actually hear him? Could you do me a favor?
Sure.
When we listen to you on TV,
Yep,
we can't hear you, so
Okay.
yell a little louder.
I can yell. I will do that. So in 2015, the $36 million referendum that funds this project was also passed in that year. Moving fast forward a little closer now, in the June of this year, we met with Wetlands, gained their approval from their perspective. This fall, we did finish the project. It was fast-tracked, which is important for funding, as there is a very important funding component to this, obviously, and schedule was a piece of that. It is worth noting that this is funded by the DEEP, or the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, their Clean Water Fund. Very, very noteworthy is that fund for this project will include a 20% grant, with the remainder as low-interest loans. Okay, so obviously, a schedule for maintaining that eligibility is important. So fall, here, early winter, we are ready. We are actually in the bidding process. In November, we met with planning and zoning. The issue that we're talking about today was flagged, and that's why we're here. The bid due date, just to finish out the schedule here in a real high-level overview, bid due date is in January 26th. And we anticipate construction to begin this spring, with construction to complete roughly in a couple of years, spring of 2020. So that's just a real quick overview of the timeline. The plant, this is an overview of the plant, and it's noteworthy. The plant is a 1972 vintage plant. Not been overhauled or upgraded significantly over that period of time. Of course, repairs have been made as necessary to keep the plant working, and the crew has done a great job with that. However, 45 years later, most of that equipment, which is still in place, has reached the end of its useful life, or they're very near to it, and is the reason for these upgrades in large part. There's also a nutrient component to it, but really the plant is in need of some tender loving care, shall we say, to get it through the next 45. So typical of many wastewater plants, the flow of water, I'll just run right through it quickly and put in perspective where we are. The right-hand-most area that's labeled headworks, that's the first treatment step in most wastewater plants. They usually contain screens to remove rags, hair, plastics, undesirable material that you don't want clogging your pumps or your launders down in the process. Also in that area is the grit removal, again, removing the heavy material that will also damage equipment. So it's a very important unit operation in wastewater treatment, and that's the area that we will be zeroing in on here in a minute. The operations building is the next structure over. Obviously, that's where the operators are, but it also has a lot of process equipment in there with the blowers, the sludge dewatering, and the old incinerator, which, as I'm told, never really did a whole lot, but it's there. The water flows past the operations building to the primary clarifiers. Primary clarification is a typical next step in wastewater treatment. The water is further purified, this time allowing settleable material to settle out of the water and to the bottom of those tanks where it's collected and removed. The wastewater then flows into the biological reactors. The biological reactors are where all the fun happens in wastewater. That is actually a tank full of microorganisms which grow in there, and they actually, that brown color is not, that's the color of the bugs. Then we call it mixed liquor. And the bugs actually consume or eat the dissolved pollutants. So they're the ones doing our work. That's where all the fun is. That's where the main treatment occurs. So that tank, which is full of microorganisms, gets fed wastewater and it gets fed air. The air comes from blowers inside the operations building. The wastewater obviously comes in from the clarifiers. That mixture, which we call mixed liquor, flows into the next step, which is secondary clarifiers. We need to remove all that biology from the wastewater before we can discharge it. So those bugs basically settle at the bottom of those 4 tanks. The clarified wastewater goes to the chlorine contact tank where bleach hypochlorite is added to it, and then it's discharged out to the river. The biomass that's in those 4 tanks is largely returned to the bioreactors because we need it there to do our work. Some of it is wasted and put into the other 2 tanks and combined with that sludge. Kevin then pumps it over to the main building where it is dewatered into sludge cake and disposed of. So you're producing 2 things here, cake, sludge cake, and clean water. But the first step in that process is the head work. So let's go. So this picture right here shows both, it's looking from the south to the north. The structure right over in this corner here is the screening channels, the influent channels. That's basically a monolithic concrete structure. And you'll see in a slide later, I did hand out copies of the slides. The slide that has the blue color on it is showing that structure in plan view. The blue structure is some framework, that is going to go away. It originally held part of a crane system for removing solids from the aerated grit chambers. The aerated grit chambers are staying. That is not, the plant crew, Kevin, have found another way to get the solids out of there without having to employ all that. So that's being removed. If you look up in this picture here, that shows the easternmost side of the structure, which is right here, okay? This structure is important for our upgrades. We are putting new screening equipment in it now. You can see there's an existing screen here, which is going away. The more modern version is being put in. That modern version will remove all that material that I talked about. It will auger it away from that, clean it, wash it a little bit, dewater it somewhat, and then put it into a dumpster. It can be bagged as well for final disposal. So that, right now, this whole area is outdoors. So in the winter, that's not a very safe place to be. You can ice up. Putting the screenings outdoors in the summer can be odorous, as can the channel. And odor is an important part of what we're trying to alleviate here with some of these upgrades, and that's a big part of the strategy for odor reduction at this plant, is to make improvements here. So the improvements that we want to do are to put a building around that structure. So we want to close that structure so that it's safer to work in, that the equipment that's in there is protected, and that the odors are contained. That building will be vented to an odor control system for odor removal, so that will be important for neighbors for odor reduction. The building, this is a computer rendition. Obviously, it will not be purple, so I did want to put on there, it will be brick. I don't know why I couldn't draw brick, but anyway, fairly simple building as far as shape goes. There will be a roll-up door for the container, the grit container, to be roll-off, to be brought in and out of the building to take the screens away for disposal. Man door on the side, obviously for day-to-day entry. There will be a sunroof on the top that's removable so that you can actually get equipment in and out of that structure for repair or replacement down the road.
And what's the other thing?
I believe that's the air handling system. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Where's the scrubber for the odors going to be? Is that black box?
Nope. The odor scrubber will be located, And it's underneath that. It'll
That
be over
big
here.
square.
Yeah. It'll be a separate system that'll have a duct that will connect it over to it, and the foul air will be drawn out of the building. So it's actually part of the ventilation system. So instead of having an exhaust fan per se, like you would in an office building like this, that will serve as the exhaust fan, and then that unit that you saw on the top of the building will supply the fresh air to inside the building.
But it's going to get rid of the odor?
Any odor from that location will be sucked into the odor control system. So I handed this picture out, figuring it'd be a little easier to see in front of you if you wanted to take a closer look. So, as I've stated, our plan is to put a building around this structure to solve several issues. And this is where we run into the issue with the setback. So, as you can see, the yellow line is what we're crossing the yellow line here, so to speak. So, if superimposing the R33 50-foot setback, you can see it clips the corner of the building by a couple of feet. That is the issue. So I've been asked, why can't we just move the wall? And the reason being, if you look in the corner, actually, I'll just go to the next slide. That corner snippet there comes from here, that red box. So if we're on the north side of the building looking south, this is the structure. Again, that monolithic structure that you see is concrete channels. If you look at the profile, the blue, just show you the flow path here. So the wastewater comes in here and flows through these two channels as the normal route out and then off to the grit removal tanks. We're going to put our screen in here with a bid alternate for a second screen here. This channel is bypass, so normally that wouldn't be used, but it's there when we need to for maintaining equipment, cleaning, things like that. So this drawing,
It's more like this.
question?
I think this picture's easier to understand. Isn't this the building?
Not all of it. The black outline is the building.
Right here.
Yes, yes,
So
ma'am.
this is where you're showing
Yes, that,
that you're clipping off the corner. Or
Oops.
that's where you're over.
yeah, so right here, this yellow line, exactly, thank you. So that.
Right, so that where it gets confusing is the way it's laid out.
Yeah, sorry, this is.
This is clearer.
So I gave, you know, I'm an engineer, I gave you an engineer drawing, sorry.
Doesn't really say, does it?
But I did want to point out where this
I have no
wall
idea.
right here is relative to that line with a
Could be
little more
two.
detail. And the reason it's there is that wall cannot, you know, we've been asking you put it on top of the structure, can you get it closer? And the answer is no. Structurally, that structure cannot take the weight of a building it wasn't designed for. It's a freestanding, ground level concrete structure. So if we were to do anything there, that would be a completely different monumental project to make something work, to get it away from that. So we have to put the footing for that building wall, that's about as close as we can get it to the existing. Yeah, this footing right here, ma'am.
Right, on the
Yeah.
bottom. But
Yep.
basically, aren't you, the way I'm seeing this, you're basically taking a building and sticking it over your
An existing
existing
structure.
structure.
That's right.
And that's that's where the issue's.
That's where the issue is.
Just
Yep,
because of the property being the way it's laid out.
exactly.
Okay,
Yep. Yep. Thank you. I couldn't have said it any better.
I'm here for you.
I appreciate that, thank you. So, right, I mean, that's where we are, that's the issue. So in closing, just wanted to say, just to kind of go over where we've been already. The building footprint, as you just said, is defined by the existing structure. The reason for the building is to contain odors, and that is important to the Department of Environment and Energy, or Energy and Environmental Protection. What I didn't say earlier is that they are very involved with this project, have been from the very beginning, and they will be throughout. Odor reduction is an important part of this project for them, that we have had an NOV, notice of violation, in the past. So obviously that's a benefit to the area and to neighbors. It will improve operations, as I stated earlier, safer, cleaner environment for the folks to work in. And just a little history here, this property has been used as industrial, even though it's R33, since 1936. This is a unique case. I don't think there's any other R33s in town that will have a wastewater plant on them. So this is kind of a one-off situation.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the board?
We just have one. If this was an industrial zone, would they even have this problem?
They have different requirements for setbacks, I'm not sure.
They're less.
Right.
They're less.
That's what I investigated, that they would be less. They wouldn't have this problem.
Right.
Okay.
Anything else? Nobody's got anything, huh? Okay. I've got one. I don't know if it would matter at all. I know the building, you're saying the building has to be that size, and it's sliding over what's there, but there is some room from what's already there. If you turn the building a little bit, would that fit in the blueprint, or would that still not?
I'm not sure what you're.
So if you turned
The shell.
the shell just a little bit,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Actually rotate the shell so
Right.
it's no longer lined up.
you're saying the shell has to be that size.
Yeah.
But inside, you do have a little bit of extra room. Would you be able to rotate it at all, or?
Space-wise, that would be fine. I mean, it's just, the issue still comes into getting away from this corner.
Okay.
You know, we
You gotta hold it up.
yeah,
Okay.
we would just, we'd be closer, but we think we'd still be clipping it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because it looks, on this rendition, it looks like even if you tipped it this way a little bit,
Right.
now you're coming down over here.
Right.
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 Yeah,
That's the whole thing.
right.
So, I was just asking.
Yep, well,
'Cause I'm looking for
yep.
if there was a possibility of doing it a different way.
We looked hard. It's just that is the issue right here. Just getting away from there, and we'd still be in this situation.
Okay. No other questions? Nobody out in the audience? Anybody else want to speak in favor or against?
I'm Jonathan Bilmus, the Public Works Director of the Town of Enfield. We support the project and we support the variance. And we think it's what we need to move this project forward. Critical project for the town. Voters supported it. This came up fairly late with the final design. So I hope you'll look on the variance favorably. Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. Public hearing is closed. Comments?
I'm in favor of giving the variance. The fact that they're in a residential zone, but they're doing an industrial project, and it's been there since 1936, clearly shows that they're good neighbors, but this will fix a huge problem. And if they didn't, if you rezone it and made them industrial, they wouldn't be here with a problem at all.
Okay.
What she said.
I actually went out to the property and got a pretty good look around. I've never been there. I've driven by a million times, but it was an eye opener actually going on the property and looking around, and that is quite a unique piece of equipment. I actually got to sit there and watch it work for a few minutes.
Oh, that's
I don't know how you guys can do it all day long. Maybe you don't.
Well, the new
maybe you
one-
can tolerate the smell.
The
I
new
think
one
it's
will be
that
better.
guy down there.
That's Kevin's one. But the new one will be better.
You certainly couldn't go out after work, I can tell you that.
But
The
just imagine-
permeation of that smell has got to,
But just imagine if that facility wasn't there, what would happen?
that is true. I was surprised to hear what that machine actually did with pulling up rags, and you wouldn't think stuff like that would be in our flushable system, but
It's a
I guess it
terrible-
was, so. I don't know that there's another way of doing their project, so I don't have a problem with it.
Good.
So, all in favor of granting the variance, signify by saying, raising your right hand?
Didn't we need a motion to approve?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it might be a good idea.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess
I
we can
move
do it
to
that way.
approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by raising your right hand.
We're so
Opposed?
excited to give you this.
Objections?
Jumping the gun a little.
Well, you have to come by more often.
I'd love a
No,
drive-through.
That's quite all right.
No, I want to see it once. I want to see how it works.
I wouldn't mind seeing how the other tanks work. You know, it was getting late, so I didn't see the other half
I
of it,
can't speak
but-
for Kevin, but I'd be happy to walk through anytime.
There is a special website that's been set up for this whole project, and you're all up. You can get to it through the water pollution control homepage. There was a bug last week. Has it been fixed?
Yes.
Okay, so if you go into the Public Works or the water pollution control homepage, you'll see a link to a special website, and you can either on the Public Works, water pollution control, or there, you can actually have a virtual tour of everything.
It
and
doesn't
also-
smell nearly as bad.
Right. It also shows the whole system, all the different pump stations, 16 that feed this. You can go one by one. It shows, gives you a picture, shows what's being planned for the upgrades all around town as well. We're focusing right here on, this is the biggest part of the whole thing, the biggest money-wise and so on. So this is what's being tackled first. Down the road, we're gonna be working on all the pump stations, hopefully, or the majority of them. So all that information is on this special website that's been put together for this. So Kevin would be happy to tour you around, but also you have that option for the viewers at home.
So if anybody wants to see how it works,
Okay,
go see
so
Kevin.
we have no conditions that they think they still have to, I think in your planning and zoning gave you some conditions, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they have to meet whatever conditions.
Yeah, well, we don't have any issues with
This-
the planning and zoning.
No.
Right, but I think one of them is that you have to have a certificate of compliance, which happens to be one of our sticklers, so I believe that they've already hit you with it when I was reading through, that they've told you have to come in with a, Rick.
Yeah, that's a standard condition.
Right, so it's a standard condition now,
Yeah.
so we won't have to tell you to do it too. Okay, so what am I
That's right,
doing?
yeah.
Reason for approval is, you made the motion, you might as well give it.
Oh,
to-
sure, kick the ball down the road.
No, I have something if he doesn't have anything.
It's a pre-existing nonconformity on the site, and there's no other way to work around the application of the zoning regulations.
No other way to get around, what was the ending?
Zoning regulations.
Like I said, the application of the zoning regulations.
We don't get slideshows.
Can I call it a containment building?
Sure.
Yes.
Can I call it apparatus?
Yes.
Is this gonna help make your job easier? Is it gonna make your job easier?
Absolutely.
Just a
No
thing.
more frozen Rexicles.
I hear you guys have a frozen dumpster right now.
Oh, that traveled fast, yes.
Small town.
I'm guessing you stopped by tonight.
Yes.
I'm impressed, doing your homework. It's awesome.
Can't do the job unless you're willing to put the homework into it.
Pre-existing nonconformity of the site, no other way to get around building the containment building over the existing apparatus to keep employees and process safe.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Works for me.
Are we all happy?
Yep.
Did you mention the odor?
And
Containment of the owner.
containment of the odors. Per DEP? And it's a requirement.
It is.
Okay. In response to that, oh, this isn't an, in response to the automotive, that's not us. That doesn't matter, Jen, I can ignore that? In response to the automotive location approval requested?
Or
Oh.
did you do the
I'm
motion on the wrong one?
I have no idea.
No, that might have just.
I only have one.
Okay.
We'll just remove it. So who made the motion? Andrew?
Andrew.
Who seconded?
You did.
Okay, Andrew, I'm spelling your name wrong, but. So give me the.
URB
A-N.
ANOWICZ.
That's right, that's right. And I was the second? Sure, what the heck, I know how to spell my name. Okay.
Did you put the condition of the, make sure you put zoning compliance?
One condition. Okay, and since I'm here, I'll sign first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alright.
Kathy doesn't play.
Thank you.
Very good. You guys are all set. Next on our agenda, we have calendar meeting dates for next year. Did everybody get that in their packets?
Okay.
Has anybody got a problem with the dates that we have?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. We have our meeting dates for next year.
Put them in my calendar.
And next you'll have minutes for November 27th.
Remember, did we get these?
Yes. It's the first time I've ever gotten them with the slot for the signature, though.
Really?
Yeah. Any discussion?
Spell correction.
Go ahead.
First paragraph, James Channing, ... said that he does is not an attorney. Does should come out.
Okay, anything else?
Wait a minute, because I don't remember seeing these. Okay.
You all set with them? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the minutes with the one correction?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? No. Correspondence staff reports. What do we have?
Other than having, we have the application for, the new application for
Can you
Pride.
speak up, because even I can't hear you.
We have the new application for Pride, and if 1654 King Street gets their stuff figured out with their planning and zoning approval, then those are the only two applications we have for ZBA coming up.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have any questions for us.
What do we have going on for open stuff?
We have a open item of an attorney's opinion that was requested about ZBA 2017-01-13, 157 South Road. We have still not heard from the attorney, and I'm asking through the chairman that this get rectified quickly.
That was just resent to the attorney this afternoon.
Well, since it was asked for, I don't know, 60 days ago.
We sent it out then, and then I spoke today with somebody and had it resent out again. So I will be following up on that in the next couple of days.
I will keep it on my open list.
Okay. What else do we have?
We talked about the doodle survey. Do you want me to just remove that? I mean, we seem to have, everybody's attending. We know how to come and go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't need to have issue with that. And the IDs, I saw your email come out today, but you also saw the response that we cannot do day. We
I'm
need to
trying
do
to,
night.
trying to make arrangements to see if we can get, at least, there's only 2 officers that do it. Both are on days right now, so I'm trying to see if I can set up a time, a couple nights a week, that we can choose. Go out to the board, and then you decide which one you want to do, which night, and then go from there.
Right, 'cause it's Andrew and Kathy that need badges from our.
But you said I could do it Monday through Friday.
Monday
8
through
to-
Friday, 8 to 4.
It's 8 to 4.
Yeah, I'll swing by before I go to work one morning, that's all.
Yeah, I was just gonna go down there tomorrow, so.
And Rob West,
Yeah.
I think needs one.
Okay. Well, then we
Okay.
may have solved the problem and you don't need to make yourself crazy. Would you guys do me a favor and make sure through the chairman that you let them know so that if there is still a pending issue, they can act on it, but there's no point in acting on it if we can solve our own problem.
Yeah. I'll
Seem
get over
reasonable? Okay.
there. I told you I got a bunch of sick time I have to use.
I heard that, not your state worker.
And question about the mall parking lot.
What's the date? 12/18.
Yes,
What are we doing?
we're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on it. Working towards a happy medium for all. So,
Okay. I'm not sure I really care how it gets resolved. It's, the only reason I keep mentioning it is it's a zoning regulation issue. So there's a bunch of ways that can be fixed, but
well, right now, I haven't signed up on the CO for the actual automobile approval that went through, and there were a couple issues when the CO, we were asked to sign the CO, so those have been addressed, it's my understanding, so we're working towards, like I said, a happy medium with the other vehicles and other dealerships.
that's good.
You do realize, just for curiosity of my own conversation here, but if I had a really big parking lot, and I really needed an income stream, and I really, really wanted to just say, gee, car dealer people, why don't you come park in my yard, and you can pay you $1.
Let's not give other places an idea.
Well, that's,
It's a parking lot.
everybody has them.
Car lots everywhere.
Maybe you have them.
All right, anything else?
I'll just add it to my notes.
Any other business?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have asked for this time. I am offering my resignation from Zoning Board of Appeals effective at the end of this meeting. I have enjoyed my time here. I've learned a lot, but it has become clear over the last 6 to 8 months that my family must come first, and there's some lingering health issues that are becoming more evident that my time needs to be taken for family matters, so I am resigning as of tonight.
Oh, bummer.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna miss you.
I know. You got to find a couple more lawyers.
Now we just have to find good people.
Good people, yes. I have informed the chairman of the Democratic Town Committee. I informed Mo a week ago, and I will be submitting my resignation in writing to the town council and town manager's office tomorrow morning. So since you don't have a meeting for a little over a month, maybe, with all the other Christmas things and New Year's things that people do, the town can find somebody to replace me. Or you can just make Kathy permanent.
Go tell your chairman.
I did.
Well, it's been fun having you on the board.
Thank you.
I've actually seen you grow a little bit here, back from when you started and didn't say anything. So, don't worry, we're all there at one point, right?
Absolutely.
Right, we all have to learn and grow, but I wish you the best of luck with everything else you have going on.
Thank you.
All right. Any other business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned.